you have helped. Never mind all the multinational corporations and so on. Bill Clinton, Princess Diana, Mikhail Gorbachev, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Quincy Jones. I mean, these are like the icons of my lifetime. All touched by the inspirational hand of Tony Robbins.
I don't know about that. I've had a ticket to history. I've had a chance to be around some really magnificent people and learn from them along the way, and in some cases be able to assist them as well.
What is the common theme of anybody in their kind of positions where you get to be hugely famous with all the pressures that that brings? What do they need from somebody like you?
Well, they all have something different. I mean, I get the phone call when the athlete's melting down on, in the middle of a sporting event. You've got to do something right now to turn them around, or I'll
what
get
do you
a
say
job.
when that specific thing is happening? What do you say?
It's not a say. It's putting them back in state. You look at somebody like Tiger Woods. He has the same skills he always had. What he's lost is the state. He's lost that certainty. I'm sure you've seen a sporting event, any sporting event, and you watch the person walking out of the field to go for a free throw kick, and you know before they're going to do it, they're going to miss. You can see that certainty is missing. So it's getting them back in that psychological, emotional state where their best comes naturally in that case. But then I might get a phone call where a child is suicidal, or the President of the United States calls and says they're going to impeach me in the morning. What should I do?
But that actually happened.
Yes,
Bill Clinton called you the night before,
yes,
1998, and said, Tony, they may be impeaching me in the morning. What should I do? What an extraordinary position of responsibility
well,
you
sure
had.
I'm not the only person he called.
No, you're one of the people he called.
By any stretch, yes. And
I mean, just step back for a moment. That moment, how did you feel? I mean, despite all these incredible things you've experienced, to have the president of your country call you in his great hour of need?
Well, if you're thinking about yourself in a moment like that, you can't really serve. So, then it'd be all about you. What I felt was a sense of responsibility, and I also felt I needed to sell him straight what I really believed. And, I knew he was going to get different opinions. And I don't really talk about what I do with someone unless they speak about it. But I did speak at that point and said, frankly, you're not going to be impeached in the morning. Easy for me to say. I'm not in your position. Just politically, it's not going to happen. But what you have to decide is what your legacy is going to be. What's your outcome? Because you have to decide what you're going to be able to say that people at home can tell their children about. You have to look at what you can do legally. But if I were you, I'd be doing what you know is right and nothing less than that process, because you won't be able to look yourself in the face. So, but the point of the matter is, people know what's right. I think what happens for us is we get ourselves caught up in an environment where we forget what's right because the environment starts to trigger us. And my job is get them out of the triggers, get them into what's really real. And then sometimes it's a strategy I'm helping somebody with. Sometimes it's changing their psychological state. Sometimes it's really helping them to break through some limiting belief.
Do you personally ever have crushing moments of self-doubt?
Self-doubt as often as you do.
That's not often.
But it's not because I'm so great or brilliant. It's just like, an athlete. When you build a muscle over and over in your life, you do it. That doesn't mean I'm always right either, by any stretch of the imagination. It's not crushing self-doubt. Have I had failures, challenges? I mean, I remember doctors coming to me and saying, you got a tumor in your brain. What are you going to do? You have to make those decisions when you have total uncertainty in your life, and it helps if you've trained yourself to be able to make decisions in those moments.
Oprah Winfrey called you the Energizer Bunny on steroids. Now, be honest, when you first heard that, what was your reaction?
That was pretty horrific. But she came to my event, and, for years she's known about me, not had me on for whatever reason. She thought these commercials, I was, commercials of some sort, not spiritual. And she came and said, I'm only coming for 2 hours. I can't do more than that. And she stayed for 12, and it changed her life. She said, literally on the air, that was one of the most powerful experiences of her entire life. And then she got my breakthrough shows, and now we're doing these specials on these Mondays, these live classes, which are really a lot of fun.
I mean, I've watched you do some of your live performing on television, but 15,000 people going crazy. You come in like a rock star. You're up and you're pumping. You got this big grin on your face, and you're like, boom. And I thought, what is the secret? And now I've met you. It's one, you're massive. You're absolutely massive.
But I'm not in a crowd of 10,000 people.
Even then you must look massive. I was like, he can't be as big as he seems, but you are. I mean, you're physically very imposing. How helpful is that to exuding the kind of inner self-belief that you clearly have? Well,
clearly, it's not just about inner self-belief. It's really about people getting to the truth. I believe people, I'm not into positive thinking. I'm not into saying, go to your garden and chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. I'm here to say, here's the weeds, here's how you're going to pull them out. I'm much more of a strategist. But to answer your question deliberately, I was 5'1" my sophomore year in high school. I was student body president, and I wasn't a popular kid. I had this drive and this hunger to serve, to make a difference. I ran like a real political campaign. I went to each group and said, what do you need? I'll come back and tell you whether I can really do it or not. My belief. I went and interviewed people, and I won not as the popular kid, but as the kid that raw and real, believed what I could do, and I really delivered. I was there every single day of the summer. So it started back in high school when I was Mr. Solution for people, regardless of my size.
Like many people who become very successful, You had a really traumatic upbringing. Your father left when you were very young. Your mother brought you up, but was really fairly chaotic from all accounts, and
yes.
had a number of substance issues and so on and so on. And at 17, she throws you out of the home. What did all that do to you as a young man? When you're coming out of your teens, you've gone through this hideous time. You haven't really experienced, I guess, real love from either parent.
No, I don't think that's true. I had 4 fathers, so they got to know at little levels. My mother, kept changing in that area. My mom made me feel loved. She also, was abusive, and I never talked about that till Oprah.
Did she ever tell you she loved you?
Absolutely, and she was physical loving, but she would also go the other side because she had substance challenges. And what it made me was a practical psychologist. I had to learn how to be able to read her, what was really going on, what could I anticipate what's going to happen, and that gave me, I think, skill sets in life that allowed me to read almost anybody in the future because it was life and death in many cases.
And also, it's so unpredictable.
Exactly right.
So you had to literally roll with the waves.
And I know what suffering feels like, and that gives you a hunger to make sure other people don't suffer.
Let's take a short break, Tony. I want to come back. I want you to put your hat on and fix America in about 6 minutes.
Okay, perfect. Okay? Sounds like perfect television.
I can't think of anybody else who could actually do this, but you might be able to.
Okay. Thank you.